Well, it turns out that we got some news today. Red alert. Coming out towards the end of the month here for late January, we have another update from the developer newsletter crew. We have the big elephant in the room, which is the Rosella Type C Defensor B unit is going to be scheduled to join the fray here. It's going to be a ground space support unit at 650. So we actually are getting our support Roselle here. Mainly stationed, wow, they're saying so much lore in these base like points instead of talking about the weapons and stuff. Still, we can take a quick peek at the video here, although unfortunately we're going to have to exclude the audio. But we'll have some other stuff going on after this. And I'll, you know what, I'm probably just gonna have that up on the screen while we keep talking. Because that's taking a hot minute. Fixes of existing elements though. This is something else that is interesting because someone was hinting that this might be something that was going on in the last stream that we were doing. And I thought they were just kind of talking about random stuff, but I think this came up before we actually finished stream. But the Mark V is getting an optimized shield booster, which is interesting. I didn't really think about the fact that in terms of form factor and stuff, this is very similar to some of the shield stuff from the AOZ era. Which may or may not actually mean that it actually birthed from that, but optimized shield booster level 1. The following effects are activated only when the shield is in possession. So it gets faster, high-speed movement. It reduces thruster consumption at the start and during the high-speed movement. Additional mid-air actions are available, so essentially more aerial stuff. Consume thruster is move faster, jump available also, reducing thruster consumption during these moves. So that's interesting. The other big thing, and something that I wasn't really expecting them to do here, is that they're actually adjusting some of the sorting times for high-cost units. So for the most part, pre-change, all this other stuff from about, it seems, the 400 mark off. So 450 and up is actually getting some pretty decent reductions, from the highest one being from 19 to 16 for 700, and going down the line more or less following the same trend. 450 and 500 of course getting smaller reductions and only just an extra second off at 13 seconds. But yeah, not bad. So 400's actually got to match up with 450. 500 and 550 are going to be the same, and it's going to go all the way up until 700 when it's actually just a maximum of 16 seconds. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. Hopefully that'll make things a little bit easier in terms of the spawn times, since it is pretty excruciating, to be honest. You're talking about, sometimes it legit feels like you're just sitting there for like a half minute, especially if people are being killed in decent gaps apart from each other. So we'll see how that helps things up. So cost limit and mix-up rules remain unchanged for the pre-update wait times. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Some of the other modes just have more natural, like naturally smaller mix-up times, or mix-up times. Oh my god, respawn times. Going on, we also see a different change in display for the Psychommu Jack. So, of course, when you had Psychommu Jack going on, you could only see it when you were on a Psychommu weapon. It would be like, well, you can't do that right now. But now it'll just be visible off the side of your boost. Or not your boost, but your weapon stuff, so you'll just be able to see that you are under the state of Psychommu Jack at all times. So very good little small changes there. This is probably the more interesting thing, just to see how more fast-paced some of these matches are going to be, in the way that like fights start to shift when people can actually get into the fight faster, especially if they're like the first or second one to go down in their group. And I'm gonna be real with you, this is a cool fix. I like that they're actually touching up the Mark V again. It's gonna get a little bit more movement, which is definitely appreciated, but I kind of want them to mess with some other stuff. Also, and correct me if I'm wrong, in the early days, people were talking about the fact that it's also missing some shoulder-mounted missiles. I don't know if that was just some art that somebody did at some point, or if it's actually something for real for this, but if it is for real, it'd be cool to see that on here as well, even if it would add a little bit more top-heavy bulk to the body of it. But overall, these are the changes. Hopefully you guys are excited for the new Roselle. We're finally getting another support after a hot-ass drought. Support players hopefully rejoice. It's still gonna be a little bit of a mixed bag seeing this at 650, again bumping it up from some of its other brethren at lower cost, but you know, at this point you just gotta take what you can get. I think we all kind of figured that they were gonna do some of the defensor variants and whatnot, it was just a matter of time. But I'm gonna take a wild guess and assume that this is the upcoming one for this week. Yep, on the 25th. So once we're done through Tuesday, since it is early morning right now, we'll be seeing that during Banner Drop Night. So I'm gonna assume because they're changing some of this stuff, it's definitely gonna be a download. So make sure that you got that all taken care of if you're on PS4, so that it doesn't keep you out until the actual thing. And hopefully we'll see you guys around on the battlefield. Until next time, this is Goose on the 13th. I'll talk to y'all next time.